So you want to build a wheeled vehicle and then get it in Unreal Engine to drive it. Well, a lot of people have asked me how I do the stuff that I do, so I figured I'd make a quick little tutorial on the legacy version of how I used to do things. This is kind of obsolete at this point because all the mechanisms, functions, and building utilities are now in our environment. So this way of doing things is kind of irrelevant. I'm kind of doing this on the fly. It's not scripted, so hopefully I don't mess up too much. All right, so I've already built a little model. Let's go ahead and open that up. So I just made a little race car vehicle, no big deal, pretty basic. Some things to note is that the way I have everything set up, which this can be changed later, but just for my purposes, I always center it on the origin point in Studio with the X. Well, I guess it's, I don't know, I consider the red is X, but it's reversed. So red X is going backwards. So anyway, yeah, that's how I do that. Okay, so what you're going to want to do is export your build as LDraw. And I've already done this once, but we'll do it again. So, a little eraser. All right. And then we're going to go to Blender. So, here's where some things get weird. Now, I'm not an expert in any of this. I'm an enthusiast who stumbled over my own feet making this somewhat work. So one thing I will say, there's a lot of plugins to convert LDraw as an importable Blender asset. And there are also different versions of Blender that will work with those different plugins. So you got to kind of do a little bit of your research. I happen to have the Toby Lobster plugin, which I'll hopefully try to remember to put in the description. And then I use 4.5.3. It just seems to be the stable version. I used to always use a 3 point something, and that worked the best. But I got a new computer, and when I reloaded that, the plugin didn't work right. So this mostly works now. So anyway, yeah. So just as an example, so LDraw. So here's the LDraw importer. Like I said, this is the Toby Lobster version made by Toby Nelson. As far as like full featured, it has some cool stuff. I've used other plugins that have far more features and kind of, you know, make the bricks look prettier, I guess. But for my testing purposes with Unreal Engine, it would complicate things or add too much complexity to the meshes, so they didn't work. This is a simplified version that works exactly for my testing needs. All right, so anyway, import LDraw, and then you navigate to wherever you saved the thing. And now I have some presets here. Again, these are all going to be based on your preferences. So you can change kind of the look. You can change how it's rendered. If you want to have beveled edges, you can change the width between the bricks, which is fine. But for my immediate testing purposes, these just increase the size of the static mesh. So it doesn't really benefit me. Let's see, is there anything else? If you ever get... This is where things get complicated and you got to kind of experiment. If you ever have a mesh that some of the faces don't line up right, they're all skewed, they're jetting out from the side, something's wrong, you can flatten tree, which will import them just as you see in Studio. The problem with that is it automatically groups everything together. So you may have to do those as separate exports, but that's for kind of a whole different... a deeper dive, which I'm not going to do right now. Okay, so anyway, so I have these settings that work for me that I set for the scale and everything's fine. Okay, so we're going to import that. Now, so as you can see, X is forward now, so it's all fine and dandy. So a couple things you're going to want to do first. So you're going to want to select all. Oops, well that's not what I wanted to do at all. Select all, which, here's the thing. With the menus, with the shortcuts, with the different things that I'm going to be doing here, if these are a little bit foreign to you, you're probably going to want to look up a Blender tutorial, a basic Blender tutorial to go over these things. Because there's a lot of little things that I've learned that I won't be able to cover in this tutorial. And I don't think I'm even the appropriate person to speak on it. Because like selecting all is A. Not everyone might know that. Anyway, so then one of the things I need to do is I go object relations, make single user, and make single user of the object data. That way, if I modify one particular brick, it doesn't do the same to a similar or like a duplicated brick, because a lot of times things are linked in here. Then I'll also apply rotations and scale. That will make sure everything is nothing gets weird with exports. Now there's all these lines here. These didn't used to be there, but it came in with the later Blender versions. I'll select those and I'll just delete those. A lot of times those are vertices that don't have any correct information, so it just puts them wherever their particular origin point is. Okay, so now what we're gonna do is, this is the quick and dirty method of making a wheel vehicle work in Unreal Engine. So what I'm going to do is, like every single part is its own mesh. So I'm going to start grouping things. So I'm going to join the tires to the rim there, to the wheel. All right. That way all the origin points on the wheels are set. Then I'm going to hide those. And then I'll just group everything else. So now I only have 5 static meshes. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to parent the wheels to the body. And this way I have, because you can create the linkages, the rigging, the bones for this thing in Blender, but that's a pain. So if I parent everything, see now they're connected to the body, I can just have Unreal Engine build the skeleton when I import. All right, so then a key thing to do here is you want to rename what the wheels are called, and that has to do with like setting the animation and the bones later. So I just I go so what, front left, rear left, and then front right and rear right, and then I'll just name this body. Okay. So then that should be fine. Select all. We're gonna, oh, one last time, because this always messes me up. Apply rotations and scale again before exporting. That always trips me up because there's always something goofy going on with the collisions, or how it detects the wheels, or the orientation of the wheels. So yeah, all right. So set that. Select all. We're going to export as FBX, and then we'll put it here, driving, little racer. We'll call this Zoom 2, because I already did this as a test. Now, I also have exports, some presets. These should be all normal. I just get rid of the camera, any of the extra stuff. There's no armature, but I leave that there just in case there is, if I do put an armature on a thing. But I think everything else here is pretty standard. I mean, there is the x-axis and y-axis and x-axis. I don't know. I think this is the most important thing. X forward, Z up. That just way it translates it properly for Unreal Engine. Okay, so we're going to export that. Okay, so now, you gotta bear with me. I'm going to fire up Unreal Engine. So, not too bad of a little racer. I just did this real quick. Okay, Give me a second. All right, we'll close this out. All right, so now we're here. I'm gonna make sure I don't have any secrets showing yet, because this is actually our main project, not my rapid prototyping project. So I got to be careful what I show here. All right, so here was my testable model. I'll get that out of here for now. So we're gonna go new folder, zoom car 2. All right, so now in Unreal Engine, you simply import the FBX that you exported. Driving, little racer 2. All right, so now here's where you want to select skeletal mesh. It'll build out the rigging. For this example, I'm going to create new materials. Ideally, you want to have, again, this is where you need to like get some knowledge with Unreal Engine as far as how your materials are created and if you do material instances, but this isn't the reason for the video. So I'm just going to create new materials to create a simple look. And then I'm going to modify these maybe later. Doesn't really matter. Okay, so don't mind this. It's just a pet peeve of mine. Okay, so first things first. Let me make sure. Yeah, okay. I always make sure my scale is right because that's a long story. I have scale issues. Okay, so first things first, we're going to want to create the blueprint. So you're going to go to, right click, create a blueprint. You're going to do a wheeled vehicle, which also, this is where you want to look up tutorials on how to do chaos vehicles, because you need to enable that if it's not enabled already. All right, so we're going to create that. We'll call this zoom to BP. All right, so we're going to go to that. And it's on the wrong screen. We're going to go here. Did that work? Okay. We're going to go here. We're going to do our zoom to skeletal mesh. It's going to go in there. Perfect. Oops. Going a little too quick here. All right, so then we're going to add a spring arm. And then we're going to add a camera. And I'm going to change this to first cam, just because that's kind of that's just how what I do for terminology. Okay, and then you can raise this up, move this around. I like to do like maybe, I don't know, 75, sure. And then I'll rotate this down maybe one little click here. Okay. And that should be that. We'll go back here. We're going to create some wheels. So blueprint, wheel, and then chaos vehicle wheel. Okay, so we're going to have two sets. We're going to go, we'll call it zoom to front. And we'll duplicate this. And then we're going to make this zoom to rear. All right. And then let's go back here. So one thing to do, skeletal mesh, we'll go, we need to get the sides of the tire, so I'm going to go looking at this from the left. You can middle click and drag, and then you can get a measurement. So from here to here, it's 50 units, and then top 50 units radius, and then what is that, 29? I'll go 28. 28 width. Okay, so all right, so we're gonna go back here. Let's see, I got the front, I got the rear. So it was, I already forgot what I said. Shoot. All right, let's see. Yeah. All right, so left, what did I say? I should write this down. Oh, 50. Oh, that was easy to remember. And 50 and 27, 28. Okay, 50 and 28. Okay, so wheel width is 28. Wheel radius, 25. All right, 25 and 28. All right, so front wheels affected by brake, yes, and steering, and then I'll drop this down to maybe 42. This is your steering angle, so this could be whatever you want. I'll do 35. Yeah. And then the rear wheels will be affected by the engine, will be affected by the handbrake. And you can go hog wild on all these different settings to change your traction, to change your slip, your everything. So it gets pretty crazy. All right. And then we got to make an animation blueprint. This will be off a Zoom 2 skeleton. Okay, you go there. And I always, so Zoom 2 anim BP. I always forget what to do here. So first things first, you got to go to class settings, change this to vehicle animation instance. And then I think you got to uncheck this, and it's handler, the vehicle handler, something. Vehicle. I always have to reference my wheel controller. I don't know if that's right. Maybe. I'm going to reference another vehicle real quick. Okay, so animation. Okay, it is wheel controller. And then you also need this mesh space ref pose thing. Wheel control, is that what I said? Yeah. Okay, so wheel controller. It used to be under wheel handler, I think. Okay, so then we'll go mesh space something ref pose. Is that what I said? Mesh space ref pose. Okay, yeah. Mesh space ref pose. Okay, so this one should be done now. All right, so we go back to our BP. Up here, we're going to set the, on the mesh, we're going to set the animation class to Zoom 2, the thing we just created, the animation BP. Let's see. What else do we need? Oh, yeah. The wheels we just set up. So in the the vehicle movement component, you got to add the wheel setup. So add 4 wheels, expand those, and then we go to, let's see, zoom to front, zoom to front, because you have 2 front wheels and you're going to have 2 rear wheels. Zoom rear. And then now these are the identification. This is where we changed in Blender. So if I go back here to the, yeah, Zoom 2. So, oh, I forgot the physics asset. Oh, this should have been the first step. Okay, everything's valid up until now, but you gotta select all these, delete everything. Go here, go show all bones. We're gonna create a single convex hole for this, and then all of these we're going to create a sphere, and then we're going to set this to kinematic. Okay, so this is where front left, front right, rear left, rear right, that's the name of those wheels. So that's why I had you change those, because it makes it way simpler when you add them here. So front left, front right, rear left, and rear right. Okay, so now I think everything is set. Oh, we got to turn on physics on the body. Now I think, so we're not there yet, but let's see, am I this guy yet? Wait, what? Uh-oh. Oh, because this is, yeah, you got to drag in your blueprint. I had the static mesh. So I should be able to be this. Yep, okay, wheels look good, but I have no control. So now you got to go into the blueprint. And give me 1 second. Okay. Now, let me get rid of all this stuff. What I did... Now, this is a whole nother set of stuff that I'm not going to cover here, but you need to learn how to do like inputs. You can do the legacy inputs, or you can do the advanced input stuff. I have everything in this world based on the advanced inputs, so I'm just going to copy the controls of another working model. Now, the thing all you need to know about this is like, so the majority of this is just copied over from the test template. Like if you say, if you go to create new project or new project and you do the vehicle sample, it's the same controls. So you can copy those over. You just have to apply them to your vehicle. So I'm going to paste these. I'm going to have to correct some stuff. Yeah. Okay. Interps to there. And I don't think testing is here, which is fine. I made that. Oh yeah, I got to recreate this. So if you ever run into something that casts to and then this doesn't work, that's fine. You could just promote to variable, it'll recreate it, and then you're good to go. Again, this is kind of some basic level Unreal stuff. Like, I'm not going to pretend to know like exactly what I'm doing here. First cam, oh that's right, I want to change this to third cam. And then I want to, I'll make another camera, and then I'll do this first cam. Okay, go there, maybe? Yeah, okay. And then for, let's see, where's first cam? Where is it? Oh, because I have compilation errors. It's this guy. Oh, yeah. I guess I can create that. I don't have lights on this vehicle, so that doesn't matter. I made a police car with flashing lights, so that's what that was. Oh yeah, the mapping content. So this is where like your enhanced input stuff, generally you're going to have it cast outside of the blueprint, and then this is just going to, your actual player thing will reference it. I'm kind of doing this in a sloppy manner. I think that there's a more efficient way, but I've already created this on my other on another model, so I'm just going to copy that over. Again, this is like a whole tutorial about learning how the input system works, so that you got to kind of do on your own. Okay, so that's all good. None of this stuff matters, but that's fine. Does my view work? View, flip-flop, active, first and third. Okay, so now I can go back here. I can view the camera. And let's make this camera a little smaller for reference. Alright, put that right there. And then I think, if that all worked well, okay, so turning works, but throttle doesn't. What am I missing? Oh, that's right. Another fun thing. Okay, so this needs the engine has to have a torque value. There's no torque curve here, and I don't think it does it automatically. So what I did is I have my own little torque curve thing that I created. Again, this is a, engine torque and all that. You can go hog wild on that. You can, let me go back here. So you can create, like you can click that create external external torque curve. It's really just a curve, but yeah, in this sense, it's for torque. But if you want to copy this has to have these 5 points. So this is 500 at 0.5, 1200 at 0.9, 2700 at 1, 4000 at 0.8, and 5,000 at 0. So again, that's another tutorial rabbit hole that we're not going to do here. And then I have these values here if you want to match them up. These things probably aren't even matched up correctly, but it works generally okay. All right, so now we can drive. So I have my e-brake, which locks up the rear wheels, and you can kind of drive around, and it's all good to go. I don't have any wheel slip, so, and of course there's no sounds. Sounds is an entirely a different thing, but you know, for the most part, it works pretty good, and you know, you can do all kinds of different tweaking, but that is generally how you can get a wheels vehicle into Unreal Engine. And yeah, so like, you know, there's suspension there. You could play with bigger tires. You can do bigger wobbly suspension. You could do tighter suspension. You can do whatever you want. This is so dynamic. So anyway, like I said, that whole process that's what we're trying to simplify. You won't have to do any of that stuff once we have the whole project up, because you'll just be able to import your build from Studio or any other LDraw builder. You'll be able to say, okay, these things are the tires, and then the system will automatically kind of categorize it. And then if you want to add animations for like doors or not animations, but interactions with doors, so they open and close, and then, you know, steering wheel motions and whatever you want. Ideally, those features will be eventually put into the environment for player controller, so you can really customize your vehicles more and more. Anywho, I hope that makes sense. If anyone asks questions, I'll try to answer stuff. But like I said, I am not an expert in this stuff. Like, I've fumbled along until things mostly work. But so that's my basic tutorial on how to get driving things in. Now, if you want me to do a flying tutorial, it's pretty much the same process, except no physics wheels. That's a whole nother kind of tract of stuff. It's similar as far as, you know, going from LDraw to LDraw Builder to Blender to Unreal Engine. But yeah, flying mechanics are its own little beast, so I'll save that for another day. But anyway, hopefully this works for you and you enjoy some stuff. All right, cool. Have a good one.